Hello everybody and welcome to Music Real Talk with Marbin. If you like what you're hearing, please subscribe. Hi everybody. Welcome to episode 11 of Music Real Talk with Marbin. Is that a new shirt? Are you wearing new clothes?
No, I wore it for the video.
Oh.
So you just saw me with a shirt.
Wow. I couldn't remember. Looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's from Old Navy.
Oh, great store. Great establishment.
Yeah.
So, what are we going to talk about today? We had some this week after the election. Really, Facebook decided to open the faucet back up on our reach.
But now they said we're going to close it back up again.
Yeah, it's very funny. If you are involved in social media as a band and have a large following, a lot of you guys don't know this, but you're really at the mercy of this corporation that has things that have nothing to do with music affect you completely, your day to day and who gets to see what. And even when you have shows, the reach that you have advertising your shows and selling stuff, basically we're on a platform that we have no control over. And it's really crazy because during the last few months leading to the election, everything started going haywire, right? It's like we couldn't all of a sudden get to anybody. The live feeds barely had any reach.
The album we released, nobody saw it.
Nobody could see our post. And then as soon as the election was over, our reach went up. Like on some things, it was like 12,000%
up or something.
So now we have like a weekly reach of over 400,000. Which is great, but an unintended consequence was a lot of you guys are familiar with the strikebacks we do, which started with us not knowing really how to approach this issue of internet trolling. Like when we first had strikebacks, we would just...
Well, originally we didn't kill.
Well, we still don't care.
Yeah, but I'm saying we didn't think we were going to do anything with it. No, actually, originally, when it just started, we tried to convince them to come on our side. You remember when we just started with our strikebacks in 2015?
2015.
It wasn't strikeback. It was like, oh, check out this song.
Yeah, we didn't know what the internet was, so we thought that...
We won a few over, but then we had enough. But
people are like, this is stupid blues. And then it's like, well, check out this awesome fusion. We're like, this fusion sucks. It's like, check out this blues,
Yeah.
We just tried to win over every single person online.
And it worked sometimes, but it was too much work to get to gain us stars.
Well, when you have like 10 fans, each
one is very important. Yeah. And you guys are important.
Of course.
Well,
no, I mean, people...
Some of you are important.
I think it's more important to maintain a situation where you can, for us, that we can behave the way we would like to behave. We're just not those kind of people that have a public persona that's totally separate from their musical persona. I mean, I was actually seeing videos. I don't know why. I was checking out some Julian Lage.
Because you love him.
Because, you
want to be him.
There is something about him I do like.
I said love.
No, I don't love him.
You want to be him.
But when you see him in the master classes, he is so like nice, like church boy, American nice. Like,
is it church boy though?
I don't know. I feel like he is.
Isn't he like a East Coast?
No, I think he's West Coast. I think it's like San Diego area. Not San Francisco area. I'm not sure. I think so.
He's a coast person, though.
He's definitely a coast person, but it's like, guys, like now we're gonna like explore, and just like super nice, and I do feel like he's exactly like that with people. And like I don't feel like there's like the internet face that people.
He was never nice to me.
Well, we never met him. That's true.
You never met him. You don't know about me. You don't know everything about me.
It's true. I don't know. Anyways, my point is that it's very tempting when you're doing things publicly to start putting on this persona that you feel like is neutral and that people might be more attracted to than the way you talk to your friends or something.
Well, you don't want to lose it. It's more about if you don't say anything, you don't lose anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And which might be, I mean, I guess it's a trade-off.
Well, it's true in some ways. We don't say everything we think about everything.
Here we're closer than, I guess, well, we say a lot of things. No, it's true. Everybody has to hold back. But I think the line we draw is much closer to our actual hearts than...
well, we also don't... No, I'm saying we don't say...
We just draw the line before politics.
Politics and other stuff that we don't know anything about.
Right.
Mostly.
Yeah, that's true. But what I'm saying, let's just to stay on the subject of strikebacks. What I realized, it was from that movie, Thank You for Smoking. If anybody didn't watch that movie, it's a great movie about the lobbyists for the tobacco companies. But there's this one scene where the son of the guy who's representing the tobacco companies is asking his dad what he does for a living, to explain it, like how to basically be a lobbyist, how to convince. And he goes to the son. He's like, What's your favorite ice cream flavor? And it's like, chocolate. And he's like, well, I say that vanilla is the best flavor there is. And he's like, argue with me. And he's like, well, chocolate is the best ever, and I love it, and I have it every day. And he's like, and then the dad says, well, it is true, while it is true that, ice cream and vanilla taste different, the truth is that everybody loves ice cream, and people should respect each other and get along, or something like that. And the son says, but you didn't convince me of anything. You just said some general statement. And you didn't win me over. And the dad says, yeah, but I won them over, because it's not about, nobody ever wins an argument, but the people from the outside have an experience. And I think with strikebacks and all that, what I realized, I remember the first time we did one, it was, first of all, it's not about being mean to the person who wrote some trolling stupid comment.
It was a little bit. Well, we were on a 10-hour drive or something on Adderall.
Yeah.
Getting back into the city.
But it was more about exposing the absurdity of the situation rather than doing it. I never dig at them. Usually the joke is on me.
No. Not, definitely now. But I'm saying in the beginning, and it wasn't also, even then when it was to say mean things, when we said mean things about them.
That's before
was over the line.
That was the first, like you're talking about, like before we actually started the Marbin Strikes Back hashtag. No, before we would, that's how we didn't know, in the period of time where we didn't know how to handle online trolling.
So in the beginning we tried to flip them. And then we did this drive, and you had the idea that it's going to be hilarious just to go at them.
Yeah.
Because it is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, with the same...
people are ridiculous.
I used to do the things that people do that try to, like, come in our defense or something, which is, like, get a video of them playing and try to humiliate them.
But even that, yeah, it wasn't, you hurt me and I'm going to hurt you more. It was more like go fuck yourself.
But this is the thing. I think a lot of guys, you could see it. The kind of guys that haven't been bullied in early on in life don't understand this principle. That is, if you let things upset you,
you lost.
You lost.
Yeah.
It's like
you can't
hurt.
show weakness.
But it's not.
And also, why would you?
It's not show weakness. You can't feel hurt.
Yeah.
It's
also, why would you?
Yeah, it's stupid, but it's like if you don't know how little boys behave, it's the moment they see something upsets you, they keep pushing exactly there. So it's like even if something does upset you slightly, you just you smooth over it.
Yeah.
But for me, it never, honestly, like from an early age, nothing anybody says about what I do, what I am, upsets me. It's so weird because I work on music 7-8 hours a day. You know what I mean? Like still.
Yeah, but that's why, because you have.
But it's such a big universe, and then when somebody like comes and be like, oh, I didn't like the way you. It's not Stevie. It's like
this guy thinks it sounds like Stevie Ray Vaughan as well.
Yeah, and I say something like that. It's like, dude, you're like I don't your praise or your insults.
Praise is nice, but
it's still it doesn't. I don't remember it. It's like that doesn't matter. I spend all day in this thing, you know. It's
It
nice.
definitely doesn't, you don't let it define you.
No. But so anyway, yeah, we started this thing, and what I realized about it is that if you can control when the conversation is over, meaning how the strikebacks work, if somebody says something, I say something that makes it look absurd, because it is absurd, and it's about surfacing the absurdity of cruising the internet and just, you know, hurling trolling remarks at strangers.
At Fusion Band specifically.
Yeah, it's very funny. Try to fix the world one Fusion Band at a time, and then I take a screenshot and put it up, and people have a great laugh. But since our reach got to so many people that have no idea what strikebacks are, this week it just exploded. It was for those of you who missed it somehow, it was a comment about somebody says that like there's no feel in my playing or something, and then everybody just came in my defense, like no feel, blah blah blah. Yeah. But some people really started opening up. I think COVID's making people
and then
crazy.
some people, why can't you guys take criticism? And I have something to say about that actually. Let's do a detour. If I can change people's behavior with this, it'll be great. Maybe we can make a difference in the world. But there is a thing.
Don't touch that cable.
No.
You can hear that. Yeah.
There is a thing about arguing that people think that if they call out your tactic, is somehow negating your argument.
What do you mean?
For example, I'll give an example that I don't mean, and then I'll go to that specific example. But whataboutism. So if you say, people, let's give politics, let's say, they say, Trump is corrupt, and then somebody would say, but what about Hillary? Hillary is corrupt. Mm-hmm. It's called whataboutism. Okay. Which is, that's not the subject we're talking about, right? We're talking about Trump, we're not talking about Hillary. So why are we bringing...
Right.
Okay? But the problem is, a lot of times, the fact that you give a name to the argument doesn't mean that the argument is not valid. So in that sense, in that aspect, there is this argument that's called ad hominem, which is when you attack the person instead of attacking the argument. And everybody learns it probably in high school. And it makes perfect sense in high school because nobody did anything in high school and you're all shitheads. Right. You haven't done anything. You don't know anything. You're a bunch of children pretending to be adults, and you can argue from here until you're blue in the face. But as adults, some people, like, I posted a thing about an AI that they made in Israel. Mm-hmm. And the AI was, it's a computer program that generated solos over changes. Mm-hmm. And it sounded like shit. It didn't even came close to sound like jazz. And I said how funny it is that everybody on this team got paid like multiple times what I get paid for creating the worst jazz that you can't even call jazz because it's so terrible, when I'm barely getting paid after dedicating my life to playing good solos. Right. But they're getting paid so much more money to playing terrible, shitty solos. Each person there, not even the entire team together. And this one guy started arguing with me, and it devolved. I didn't want to take it seriously. I didn't take it seriously. It was a joke. But his arguments were so stupid also about maybe this research will discover something else. Like, maybe, but they didn't yet. So if they do, you can come and talk to me. All they discovered now is how to make shitty solos that don't sound like solos. And we started arguing. And then at the end, he has a PhD in something, I don't even remember on what. He said, well, I don't really understand music, and I don't really know a lot about solos. I was like, yeah, so why do you argue? Yeah. You're just, I know, you don't know, shut the fuck up. And it happens with so many things online. That people say, well, you're attacking me instead of argument. Yeah, because you're a piece of shit, and I'm not, because I know what I'm talking about. Like, I don't go to your job and tell you how to make ladders, right? I don't know how to. You know how to. It just makes no sense. Yeah. But when people say, oh, that's ad hominem. Yeah, yes it is. So what? So it makes it not valid? Right. It's perfectly valid. Yeah. The fact that everybody has a keyboard, they think that they mean that we all argue in a on a philosophical plane,
but that's
without being people.
That's the thing about the internet, because me and Dani have been out in the world for a decade, really meeting musicians night after night after night by the bucketful, like either in the audience or opening for us or at some capacity. And the amount of playing and music advice that we got face to face after people hear us play is literally zero. Yeah. Never. Nobody ever opens their mouth in that way.
And be like, you should have more faith.
Or go to our show and say that there wasn't anything, there was something missing in the music. It hasn't. I mean, I'm sure some people didn't like the show, but they don't come and say anything. But the internet just creates, well, it's not just the internet these days, too. It's the internet mixed with lockdowns, mixed with COVID.
But I'm saying the people that told us, that wrote, some of our fans that commented, oh, you guys can't take criticism. No, I can't. Why would I take criticism for some loser that doesn't know anything, that doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground, and he tells me about saxophone or about guitar. Oh no, this anonymous loser told Dani that he has no feeling in his playing. Wait, we have to rethink everything.
No, I mean, I honestly, we're different. We're a little different in the way we take it, because it's like you're like, yeah, it's like this guy's a fuckface, or like,
yeah. If Dani tells me something, I will, even if I don't agree, I will think about it, and I will try to figure out what the truth that there is in what he's saying. But if some random idiot tells me something about saxophone,
well, I think in that strike back where I prayed to God and said, that he likes I think I just hit a nerve with so many people unintentionally, because he said something about like no fill, too technical, and I was like, Lord, why do you keep making this person on repeat, like a prayer? And then I said, like, why are so many of these like free bird people wanting you to play a slow pentatonic scale with vibrato because it reminds them of high school? And I think it does just remind a lot of people.
I didn't even see that you wrote that. I just looked at the first part.
Yeah, a lot of people. It reminds a lot of people of high school.
Or what they play.
Yeah.
That was where you got wrong. It's like, why do you have to shit on other styles of music?
Yeah. And again, there's nothing wrong with that kind of playing. I take that back.
Listen, you do whatever you want, but obviously we don't want to do it. If we want to do it, we will do it.
That's true. But there's something about blues rock playing that it's so weird, because in one way it's people have the most disdain for it out of any style of guitar playing, because it's so overdone, and also it's like the preliminary place everybody enters like this realm of guitar playing. You know what it's like? It's like that shitty little area where the cruise ships dock, where like in every island it has like all the tourist stores. That's what blues rock is. And like Joe Bonamassa comes out and welcomes you.
I was about to say, did you see that he has a new album? I told you this on my feed. The sponsored ads all the time.
Oh, Joe?
Yeah. And
I'm so blue, I think I'm gonna die.
So Joe Bonamassa, like, how can you convince people that Joe Bonamassa is the greatest guitar player in history when not every, but so many jazz musicians can run circles around him? Like, there is so much he doesn't know, and it's so apparent.
Yeah, it's
not to mention every song he writes is a ripoff. It's a ripoff of a famous. I can't believe I didn't send to you, because it was one of the songs that's basically...
everything has like an intro of a Zeppelin song.
Or an AC/DC.
It's like it's a major chord instead of a minor chord, and it's just like so...
It's so close and obvious.
You're allowed to rip off music. Here's the truth. You're allowed to rip off music, but you can't put the beginning of something in the beginning of something. You got to mess with where things go. Like if you go, check it, and it's like, that's rock and roll. If you put rock and roll in the beginning of your song, you're playing a cover of rock and roll. If you go, that's Black Dog. It's like, or no, that's not. You need cooling. But anyways.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But he would do stuff like tan 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 tin ta di 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 tan 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 to tan tan tan. It's like, oh. It's like he has a team of scientists working with him on what's the closest you can get
Mr. Bonamassa, look what I found.
You if you take Stairway to Heaven, but you change 2.4 notes. It's not considered theft by the court, but it still sounds so much like it.
There's a gender neutral person who knows all that glitters is gold. It's like I've adapted it to the modern age. Mr. Bonamassa, we found amazing. We have findings.
We talked to our team of lawyers, and we found out
smoke on the lake. They'll never find out where it comes from. Yeah, it's corporate rock. It's really it inherited Journey's audience.
But that's the world of being a blues rock player that's a virtuoso has to completely ignore what there is such thing called as jazz.
Yeah,
they don't want to admit that it exists.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's I don't know. They're selling. They're geniuses in the sense that they realize the vacuum. So they realized before Joe Bonamassa, there has been a very long period of time where the hero, the man heroes, like strapped with a guitar, playing rock and roll and singing about
dressing up in leather.
It's been the vacuum was there. I mean, the latest thing before him, or around the same time, really before him, is John Mayer, but that was not for that audience.
No.
You can't send a pretty boy for that. You have to have a rough, jagged man like Joe.
Yeah.
No, but they did realize that it's insane.
It's not because of John Mayer's Joe. John Mayer's music is just
for women, and
the music is soft.
Yeah, and for guys with who are connected to their emotional side. But yeah, this thing of it makes perfect sense. Any city you drive into has a radio station pumping the 80s and
the 5 songs from the 80s.
Yeah.
No, it's genius. The audacity of it, of being, hey, let's just say this guy is the best guitar player of all time. Hey, but he can't really play changes. But the other people play swing. Yeah, but we have people like Scott Henderson and Alan Holdsworth. Nobody knows them. And then we're like, yeah, well, you're right. And they were right.
It's the same kind of marketing that you go to like a kebab place and it says #1 kebab in the world.
Yeah, award-winning.
Award-winning world prize kebab place.
Yeah.
It's like it's like you guys wrote that. And it's like, yeah. It's like, it's true. Try it.
It's the J.D. Powers Award. And J.D. Powers Award is just so genius.
I don't even know what that is.
It's you don't remember which car company is it? There is I don't remember the truck company.
Okay.
Not Ford, I know that. It's probably Toyota. I don't remember. Chevy. Because I remember considerable source of shitty Chevy van that break down. And they keep saying, when we have a guy that pretends to be in the commercial, you don't remember this?
No.
I'll show it to you again later. But they always are real people, and we're so impressed, and they always win like 12 J.D. Powers Award. And he said, and he Googled what it is, J.D. Powers. I'm like, wait, what's the award that you just buy?
Yeah. I mean, but the joke. I mean, props to him, dude. It's like he became It's really
he makes more in a show probably that we made in our entire career put together. So.
Yeah, probably. But it's really. He's proof of the fact that in this world, you generate reality. You create this tunnel vision of how you see yourself, and you just plow through this existing reality and project it. And sometimes it becomes true, right? It's like the way you see yourself.
You can't fool all the people all the time, but you can fool a stadium of people, apparently.
Some of the time.
Some of the time, yeah.
Yeah, but
every night, day after day.
For me, I mean, again, I do think he's a good player. I mean, he what he does well, And
I don't see it. Sorry.
on guitar. I mean, again, it's not. It's very similar to a lot of stuff that happened before. It's really, it would be hard for me to, pick. Like if he was playing on the radio and I just heard the guitar playing, I'm not sure if I'd be able to pick it out. But probably because I'm not that familiar. But from what I've heard, none of it was. It doesn't sound hackish. He sounds famous. He sounds like he.
Yes, I would say that. It does sound famous. It doesn't sound like somebody that can't.
No, not at all. Like, the rhythm is there. It's clean. The sound's great all the time,
I mean, just the right amount of wrong notes to be considered
a blues legend. Yeah, that flat six is in there. Yeah, but it's, I don't know, to me, I always said, and I stand by it, that good solos can't live inside bad songs, or if they do, they sit there uncomfortably, like they're waiting for something else. You know what I mean? It's like it's not a good experience. It's like, like if you see the most gorgeous couch inside of a shitty house with broken windows, your mind doesn't register. It's like, wow, that's a super nice couch. You're just looking at you need the balance between the furniture and the architecture of the room for things to become aesthetically pleasing for me. And it's like, if the song starts off being like this kind of super over the top obvious, like nod to Zeppelin, and then you sing about being so blue that you feel like you're gonna die with that level of poetry inserted to the music, and then you play a guitar solo, it's like,
It just seems like a joke to me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't like anything. I never heard anything that he did that it didn't sound like a joke, and I heard a lot of stuff that he did.
Yeah, it's tough. But actually, we played one song in the car. I think it was the first song from his last album that I thought the riff was very good. But then they started. Anyways, we took a.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's not better than.
No, it's better than almost
99.9% of people in Lynchburg, Virginia. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that everywhere you go, you find people that are better. I'm saying that his general thing sounds like a joke to me.
Well, he does blow my mind, though. The States blows my mind when it comes to him, because this market, from driving around, you wouldn't think it's possible. You wouldn't think it's there. From going to like Tilden, Illinois, or like, those towns of 600 everywhere. The fact that Joe can go and play a casino and people will flock to his show from 300 miles away each direction from all these tiny towns.
Doesn't he play sometimes shows with like, I don't know, 10,000 people?
No, I think it's like mostly 25, 3,000.
Still, all right, 3,000. Still,
Yeah.
It's insanity.
It's huge.
It's insanity.
But also, it's like, they were at the right time for a lot of things.
Like everybody else, if you look at a comedian that can sell 3,000 tickets night after night, it's somebody that's famous.
It's Bill Burr.
That's everybody that's on TV.
Well, he is. I mean, who is more famous on guitar than him right now?
Yeah, but he's not famous in the sense that if you're not into that specific culture, you're not gonna hear him. But if you're not into comedy, you will still see those people in movies, on talk, I don't know, late night talk show.
Yeah, this whole issue of feel and blues, it's so bizarre, because it's almost like people assume that the kinds of things that their heroes, which are loaded with this specific kind of feeling, are almost like that's the way that you evoke the feeling. But, there's all sorts of feelings, and every new player kind of shows you how to access from a different angle.
What those people don't get, and I saw also somebody commenting, a Marbin fan, that comment about, you guys are great and you can run circles around John Mayer, for example, but he has so much feeling. But yes, of course, you're right. If you play major chord, 1 goes to 4 and go to 4 minor, I don't know, 1, 3, 4, 4 minor, and you just play slowly and the chord tones. Yeah, that has the most emotional impact. That's very obvious. This kind of simple music. Mm-hmm. It's completely true. But also, sometimes you need something else. You can't listen to too much of it, and a lot of it is just repetitive, and you have no way not to repeat yourself, because when you play very slowly in small subdivisions, and you play in very simple harmony that you can only play specific voice leadings, it's very limited.
Well, I think,
right? And you can't. And we play instrumental music, and we play a lot of songs, and we need to keep people for. We have 8 albums, I don't know, 10 albums now, like let's say 9 albums, and we play shows that are full, and it's all instrumental music. You can't just play that stuff, and keep it interesting, and keep it not repetitive, and keep it not stupid.
well, the main thing, criticism that people seem to have at instrumental musicians and fusion players and people that don't go the minimalist path, is that it's self-indulgent. It's like you do this because it feels good to you, and you're playing with yourself. But a fusion musician doesn't just play with himself. We make a whole art form out of that.
Listen, a lot of people make a lot of money playing with themselves.
Right, that's true. But we're just kind of
There's
experts.
a huge market for it.
Yeah, we're experts at playing with
There's
ourselves. We
actually
do it 7 hours a day.
Actually, there is a
Edge
bigger
the whole time.
There is actually a bigger market to playing with yourself without instruments than there is to playing with yourself with instruments.
That's right.
So we actually, that's our business.
And
We
play with ourselves with other people while other people watch.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's really what we do.
which is also what a lot of them do.
Yeah. It's because and the truth is that people like John Mayer.
You guys should go to Google and write 4 boys playing with themselves.
Just scroll down till we come up.
Tell us which page on Google we found us.
It is true that like not being self-indulgent doesn't make it like not like you're not playing. Even if they just want the
What does it mean, self-indulgence?
Self-indulgence is playing with yourself.
No,
You
I know what it
yourself.
means in language, but what does it mean when you
take
think
your
about
saxophone
musicians?
and instead of finding the notes that make that please the other person, getting on your knees and play the Sergio, just do everything as a nod to another person's consciousness. That's which was what you're supposed to do, or really find the note on the chord and leave a lot of space so everybody gets noticed evenly. That's what you're supposed to do. But what you're not supposed to do is take the stuff did you practice your scale over this chord, or you're going to just play your scale?
Let's take somebody that we like. Why is Derek Trucks any different?
He's not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's not different.
He's not, but people perceive him to be because they like the way he plays with himself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, because they just like it, and
I think Derek Trucks is a killer player, but I wouldn't want to hear him solo for an hour and a half.
I went to his show, and the first 3 solos that he played were mind-boggling, just so good. And then every other solo, for me, I had a problem, which is I am keenly aware of the big picture when I listen to music. So when I listen to even Holdsworth playing when we opened for his trio, the way that they would structure the music was so identical song to song that it made it a lull for me. Meaning, like, he would play a chord solo, and then he would go into a linear solo, and then there would be a drum solo, and he'd play the chord solo again, and it would be over. And those kind of there's not so much you can do if you're not really diving in and listening to the music in a detail-oriented way. But if you're too detail-oriented and you imagine that your chord solo, if you change the voicings or play a low line going to a high line, it's very different than you're not seeing the way you're being perceived from the outside. There's kind of like you can see the big Legos, and then each Lego breaks up into tiny Legos. And if you're not changing it up enough, you just repeat where the big pieces go all the time. And for people who are keenly aware of that architecture, not just of the details, then things become very samey and very boring.
There's also obviously some stuff in our show that's like that, but we
try.
But musically, we go to a lot of places in every show, and we don't do.
We're aware of it, so we play with that. But with Derek Trucks, what I noticed was that every the way the solos were structured, of course, the licks are different every time, and the details are different, but the whole band is just kind of bubbling towards a climax. And the way he plays is he plays really with registers. So he plays slide on the low register, gets a little higher, starts playing high notes, and then slide when the music climaxes. It's always kind of building up towards the root, the tonic, and really giving it to you in the highest place, like above the fretboard, like, in that, an octave above the super, like just laying into that note as the band reaches the climax. And they were just kind of going for that same thing, song after song after song after song. And that's like, it's like, ooh, that's a lot of, it's kind of like there's a mountain, you're climbing the same mountain every time from a slightly different trail. And for me, solos...
Well, for him it's an issue because
you can't really...
Rhythmically it's very limited because of
he plays fascinating rhythms, but they're all the same kinds of rhythms.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Again, I'm just saying technically
he's not
because he plays slide.
Right.
I don't like people that play slide and try to play or trombone and try to imagine that we're playing saxophone.
Right.
It doesn't work.
You can't take the rhythmic approach of a Charlie Parker or a Django Reinhardt.
Yeah, it just doesn't sound right. So I really like Derek tracks. So I'm not saying bad things. I'm just saying the way I see it. And also harmonically, the type of music it is, it's very limited. And what you can do on it, because it's so consonant, is very limited. People, if you don't play, you don't understand it. But the more consonant the music is, the less you can actually do on it that would sound within the music.
Right.
So that's why modern just became so popular with students, is because it's so dissonant that you can do a lot of stuff and it still works. Because it's very easy to just play angular, ugly shit. Every solo saxophone thing that I hear, everybody plays the same. Because it's much easier to play like that. But for people who don't understand music, like, oh wow, that's crazy. How do they think about it?
Well, I mean, I think for those kind of people, when you start playing on harmonies that are really simple, like, like a 1-4-5, but like played slow. And this is something that happens in some of our songs, because believe it or not, in Marbin songs, some of our harmonies are just triadic and super, and that's a lot of their power. Yeah. And you start getting into situations where it's not only that you can't play passing tones, some notes stop sounding good. Like the more inside your harmonic situation is, the more pop it is, the more the differences between each area of the mode you're playing become dissonant, and it requires a whole other kind of attention. But it is true that, like, I think it's the issue of it's the issue of technical playing and people who are technically proficient, and it puts you in a sort of in an unrelatable place for a lot of people, and people don't understand that what you're really looking for when you're listening to a great player improvise is courage and being able, it's in Spanish they call this duende, right? When you are evoking the kind of the spirit of music, and it's that spirit of music has nothing to do with feel. It has to do with being ignited.
I think I have a good metaphor for it. If you look at gurus that people are attracted to.
Gurus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they people that are nerdy, that read a lot of books, or is it some dirty Indian?
It's the second thing?
It's the second thing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying all Indians are dirty, because they're not.
Those
gurus
do look dirty.
But those gurus do look unshowered.
Yes.
And... why? Yeah, and you ask yourself why. You would think that the guru would be somebody
that at least washes balls.
Well, that, let's say Dani's dad is a very smart physicist, and is well read on a lot of things, including philosophy, for example, right?
Yeah.
But nobody's gonna follow your dad.
No. No.
You understand what I'm saying?
And also be like, why are you following me?
Yeah, specifically, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. No,
Yeah.
he wouldn't play that. But yeah,
No, but it's not just because he won't play it. It's like it will not happen. That's not what a guru is. And it's the same thing with music. A lot of people have an issue when we see people playing like Dani and I,
well, it's
or like
people would
Dani.
like to have the opportunity to project the hole in their heart onto you, and it has to do with a lot of things. First of all, it's the feeling of empathy and compassion, and feeling like we are the same in some sense, but you have something that I don't have that I could have. But people don't want to take the long road there. I think that's why fusion musicians at the end of the day are not so attractive. Even when I went with Mason, the guy from Vertex Effects, to Sweetwater to record demos, he'd be like, "Hey, can you play just like some blues licks so people at home could like relate to what you're doing?" And I get it. It's like, in a way, like, it's really a drag if like you play a lick for somebody and somebody's like, "Can I do what you do?" And then it's like, well, it's gonna take like probably about 10 years of figuring out some technique stuff, and then another 10 years of figuring out like what it all means.
By the time you could do it, you wouldn't want to do it.
Exactly. So people don't want the hard work. They don't want the whole journey. They want to see. I feel like for a lot of them, they just want to believe that you're the same. And slow playing and licks and grooves, I think it's all in a way easy, because they're saying all you need to do is just look at it differently. It's not a linear journey.
If you look at somebody like Hendrix, people can look at him and you don't think, "Oh, this guy practiced a lot." You think this guy is special.
That's true.
And it's kind of the same thing, and that's one of the reasons. Because you asked, I don't know if I think we talked about it on the podcast about Keith Jarrett.
Yeah.
And why do people think that Keith Jarrett is such a special genius boy compared to Oscar Peterson, which to me is a special genius boy?
Oh, he is a special genius boy.
Because Oscar Peterson, you can just tell that there is so much work that went into it.
Unbelievable amounts.
And with Keith Jarrett, it's just his special. It's not he learned something. It's not he figured out something. It's not he went through a process of practicing hours and hours and hours. That's not what you see when you hear him.
Mm-hmm.
So basically a guy that technically is not much better than a lot of people, a lot of students.
Mm-hmm.
But there is something about his playing that really connects to people. So it's like he's special. It's not the stuff that he acquired. It's what he is. And I think it's the same thing. It's like, "Oh, this guy read a lot of books. We should follow him."
Yeah.
It's like, no. This guy lived by a tree and didn't move for 4 years.
Well, those kind of people, the way that they impress people. I've been going through a real practice phase lately, studying some harmony that it's weird. I've abandoned this subject in college of really voice leading on the guitar. And I bought some Ted Green books that I just took a few looks at, and I was like, okay, I get it. I don't like. And then I bought like an empty, like, chord diagram book and just started writing some nice voice leading, seeing what people are doing. And the weird thing is when you start looking at the people who are very good at it. Julian Lage is actually one of them, but there's a few other people who really understand, how to harmonize scales well, and how to voice lead on the guitar, and how to kind of voice lead with care, meaning if you have 4 notes you're playing, just to kind of take it through tunes and really be aware of where all of them are going linearly, as opposed to just, play a bunch of grips. And what you start seeing, if you're looking carefully, is the lights at the end of the tunnel. Meaning, if you look at Wes Montgomery or Julian Lage or any of these kind of people, or, whoever, Ted Green, what's his face, Lenny Bro, is the skill that's at the end of the tunnel. What they can actually do if you put in the 5 years or the 2 years it takes to get it together. And a lot of the times, like, for me, I just look at it, it's like, ugh, like, I don't want to be, like, it would be nice to be able to improvise counterpoint lines that sound kind of like Bach, move like, I don't know, like move some sort of melody like Autumn Leaves and have a frittata underneath.
Yeah.
But I don't really care about that very much. And I think it's a certain kind of thing where you need to be very almost as if you're if you're listening to this and you're a practicing person and you are wondering what to work on, something that's really important is to understand how the things that you work on and the things people work on kind of design the kind of player that you will be. And players just let it all hang. When you listen to somebody's record, they show you their systems, their feeling, their process. It's all in the music. You know what I mean? Like everything you, and if it's not, then it's all nonsense. Then what they say is just lying, you know, because when you watch a masterclass of somebody and he's talking about all this fancy stuff, and then you pull up his album and it just sounds shitty, out of time.
Well, a lot of people figure out complicated ways to practice that they could never translate to the way they play, which means there's some disconnect there that you should be aware of.
Right. Yeah, you see that a lot with people digging into overcomplicated rhythm when people start working on polyrhythm, and it's like this is the thing about what I was talking about earlier, which is this thing of resolution, of big picture versus small picture. The big picture matters the most, right? And I think that's really why most people have a hard time listening to fusion or something, because structurally it's very different than if you're a pop listener or a blues rock listener
or a
hip hop listener. The songs are structured in a way that it's hard to relate to. It's a foreign room, and I can relate to that completely. Every time I listen to flamenco, I have this feeling, man, I really wish I knew where one was. I don't know anything. It's almost like instead of when I listen to Charlie Parker, it's like I go to the dinner table at this place and I sit down. It's very comfortable and I can listen to the conversation. I know the structure, I know the forms, I know the chords. It's really interesting. When I listen to flamenco albums, I feel like I'm watching people having dinner from outside the house through a window. And they're speaking some foreign language, you know, because again, it sounds good. It looks like they're having fun. I see that there is everything there that music has, but I don't know how to count it.
And you know what the truth about it too? And that's one of the things that drives me nuts about it's like how I played in a lot of stuff. So I find out stuff that I always enrich my rhythmical vocabulary. It's one of the things that I always work on between albums. And I think there is a huge difference, even the way I play. I know it's not a huge difference for anybody listening or for you even, but for me it's a huge difference. I was really frustrated in Strong Thing that some stuff I was working on just wasn't worked out yet into my playing naturally to get into the album. And just after that it was. Just a couple months after Strong Thing was recorded, I would already did it. So by the time it came out, I already had all this rhythmical stuff that I would do. When it's really bothering me, it's not on Strong Thing. But my point is that the things are pretty simple. And you see all these people getting into solcato, Indian solfege, and they work, like you said, on crazy subdivisions and crazy
and those people can't play 16th notes well.
But when you see and when you see people, even if you look at Michael Brecker, which is when he plays fusion, one of my favorite saxophone players, right, top level, makes me jealous. One of the only people that I listen to and can make me jealous. It doesn't do so many things rhythmically that if you don't know music well enough, and most people that listen to him even won't even notice the amount that it doesn't do. But to me, it's so simple that I would do like so many more things.
How well does he do it?
I know exactly. So it's not even. I have a thing that I'm more in my playing, but he took a different route, obviously, and it's like an amazing player. But the point is that you don't go to this fringe thing. Shit. Yeah. That's also another temptation, just to do. Oh, I did hear 5, 7, 7, 3, 5, 4. It's like, no, just why won't you learn how to play 4, 4, 2, 4, 4, 2, 2, 4?
The truth, if you want to understand rhythm, and this strange place that music notation, the rhythmic values, how they're written down, kind of it's what's the word for it? We used that word when you said about how kids learn about reality.
Representation?
Yeah, it's a representation of rhythm, but it's dots on a page. So think about it like steps, right? If you could say this guy steps in this when he takes a walk from point A to point B, you can mark each one of his steps. That's kind of like what music notation is. But if you try to look the way he looks when he strides, the whole rhythm, the motion of the person, and like, and then you try to like have the grace of a ballerina or something, it's going to take you years to figure out how to actually move through space past the point of just putting your feet on the spaces. And what I mean by that, there's no such thing as learning how to play quarter notes. You learn how to not lose the beat, but to occupy the space musically, listen to how Louis Armstrong plays. It's like nobody sounds like that exactly. He really has a thing. He has a way of striding through time, and Brecker has a way of striding through time that's absolutely unique. And until you can start noticing the difference in the way people approach the subtleties of how their rhythms feel, all you're really doing is just working on a representation of what they're doing, but you're doing it in an unaware way.
That's part of the reason why I hate those videos when people solo over transcriptions.
Yeah.
Because it makes much more sense to play something and then play it back and then figure it out. But just to play on top of it, you're just smooshing the rhythm.
Yeah. And it makes it inaudible. And also that's really, I always kind of dig into these YouTuber folk like, the Beatos and whoever. And that's really the big beef I have with those kind of people. They keep showing you more intricate blueprints, right? They're like, think about it like, oh, I've transcribed this. So they have like these books of transcriptions as if they know it, as if you can store this knowledge. But it's like, but they can't play in a way that makes it doesn't sound right when they do it. None of it sounds right. All they can do is take the people who sound great and represent what they're doing on paper. But you can see that there's something broken in this whole transference of emotion, because what's happening is that they can't do it, and they show other people how to sound like them, not like the guys that they're trying to transcribe.
Yeah,
it's a classic, the blind leading the blind.
Jam of the Week now, by the way, it's
Jam of the Week is a Facebook group where people post transcriptions.
Yeah, it used to be when you post yourself playing, but now it's just people posting transcriptions.
Yeah.
It's insane what happened to it.
Well, I mean, there's a lot
because people getting likes.
Yeah.
And that's the only currency that counts anymore, the likes. That's what they try to teach you. Only likes count. Do stuff that get likes.
Yeah.
Engagement. Feed us. Feed the machine. Feed the advertising machine.
Can we talk
Don't think about making money.
Can we talk for a second about these people who are posting solos of them scatting?
Wait, before that. If I have to think about the idea of taking a lot of things by transcribing from other musicians, I can think of let's say, in Hollywood, every few years, whatever is hot changes a little bit. Mm-hmm. So Winona Ryder was really hot when we grew up.
Yeah.
And when we were kids. And then it changes to different sure. type of ladies. And then some ladies, not specifically Winona Ryder because I don't know what she looks like now, but I'm saying some ladies think, oh my God, I know so little about those things. But like some magazine, the hottest lady was chosen. I don't know, we talked about it in TMZ. Whatever, doesn't mind. You get the point. Tupac and Walgreens. Like something happened somewhere that it gets, now it's into have a big ass and big lips. So they go and they fuck up their face by inserting big lips and big ass on themselves. But they only look like more and more like clowns. Yeah. They look terrible. You can't just take something from somebody else and give me, like if I go and...
Give me Stan Getz vibrato and Charlie Parker's dick.
If I go and ask for Scarlett Johansson's lips, I would probably not look prettier.
I actually think you should try. It's too early to
You understand my
determine.
point?
Yes.
So it's if you take something superficial from somebody like a lick and put it on your playing, you're not prettier.
It's
Stop
not more
it.
appealing. Yeah. Yeah. It's a weird thing. Now, I want to talk for a second about scatting. First of all, the fact that it's the same word for that and a bear taking a shit is strangely fitting.
Great.
But it's not a bear. It's like a mouse shit. It should be a mouse shit. I don't have a good metaphor for what it feels like when you're at a gig and somebody starts scatting, but it's a lot like a bear ran into your concert and started taking a shit everywhere. Because Jesus Christ, because when Louis Armstrong does
It's less terrifying but more smelly.
Yes. But when Louis Armstrong does it, it's great. And there's some people, like in Django recordings, they go like, "Zabadi beep beep." It's like to fill up like a second of space in between singing.
Yeah.
But this life that it took, that they're like, it's mostly ladies. I'm sorry, you just don't see a lot of guys scatting. And you just see them scatting and with this look on their face. And you could really see in their eyes that they think it's okay. And it's so offensive to me, just that look, that it's, you know what I mean? It's like certain things.
Hey, I'm a horn player.
Yeah. It's like,
Do ba do beep ba do ba do be da ba do 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 be boo be ba 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 do ba ba.
dude,
It's like that's hip.
it's amazing. I don't know. I still think Shuby Taylor is great.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know,
Poppy.
if you guys do not know Shuby Taylor, you have to check out Shuby Taylor.
Oh, you do.
The human horn.
What does he do?
He
it
went to
in
the Apollo, yeah, and just did it. He is actually, he doesn't get any of the notes, but he gets all the rhythms, and he knows like the contours. So he's kind of scatting, and it's hilarious. It's so funny.
It's great.
And it's funny that it actually sounds like he has like a lot of tapes where he's like scatting over play-alongs.
Yeah.
But it has all the rhythms of bebop and all the contours of bebop, none of the notes, and also, but so much of the feeling, of the intensity.
Yeah.
He has like so much conviction.
Like he loves bebop. He obviously
Yeah.
loves it.
But the people,
Poppy.
but it's so good.
It's great. It's great. I love him.
So the funny thing is that like if I was an aspiring scatter, I would listen to him with jealousy because he has the fire.
Yeah, he does have a fire.
You know what I mean? It's like listening to Coltrane, because you have to be crazy to have so much. There's certain things in rhythm that you can't do with confidence, because playing happens in the moment, and being shy always puts the thought in front of the moment. That's what being shy is. You're self-aware, and this thing is like, what is it? It's like, well, the meeting you have with the world is preceded by the fear of how you're going to be seen.
Shy playing is one of the worst.
And it's like, and it's really that. It's either making you just be in a place where you're just letting, like, it's almost like looking forward to something being over because you're afraid of it. So it's I'm just gonna either rush it and just throw it all out there and get off stage, or just be timid up there like a precious being, just afraid of being seen. And both of them are really horrible. You need to just stand there and be comfortable. And that's really what puts you in time. This is the confidence that people are talking about, is the confidence to actually do the deed and when people are watching, and somehow find the center of the thing.
It's very weird to ask for everybody's attention. Everybody in the room, look at me, and then
Don't look at me. Don't look at me. I didn't mean it.
Yeah. It's just it's a weird combination seeing musicians like that.
Yeah, there certainly are a lot of them.
Just either figure it out or just go.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that, because I don't know. For me, I remember being nervous. I remember in the beginning, I would just fart a lot. I would crop dust the shit out of the stages.
Me too.
Yeah.
Maybe also it's what we ate. Just at the bars we played, and now we eat better food. But yeah,
it's true. But still, I mean, I could always, close my eyes and go to my special place and just play, like it
well,
felt.
You always felt like you have something worth listening to.
Yes, and I felt like for me, I noticed this after a while. The nerves. This is 10 years ago. I really don't get as nervous now, but the nerves came when I was walking around without my instrument. But as soon as I put the guitar on, I was like, oh, I just need to do this.
Yeah, I know how to
do
that. That's one thing I know to do.
It's like, I know how. I remember when we were playing with Wertico, and Paul Wertico is the drummer from the Pat Metheny group from the 80s and 90s, and we played a few concerts with him in 2010? Nine. And
last one was 2011.
Yeah, but we were playing in 2009, and I just remembered like being so nervous. It was like a sold out show in space, and I was farting like maniac on stage, off stage. And then I got up there and I just put the guitar on. I was like, well, I can certainly play guitar better than Paul Wertico. It's like he's like, and I'm probably here for some reason. So, and as soon as I had it on, I just had fun. And but yeah, I had that was a traumatizing experience on a lot of levels. Paul, when we first moved to Chicago, we didn't know anybody when we were here, and we loved this playing on the Pat Metheny group, and we were big. If you listen to Breaking the Cycle and Last Chapter, those
you can
albums,
still hear it.
You can really hear the influence of Metheny group there, and also because we used as musicians from that era we liked.
But we were really into him.
But that flat ride sound, I always thought was the prettiest thing. It didn't really mix with my playing because I play with gain, but like with clean guitar and with saxophone, it's cool. Beautiful. Like, all of Breaking the Cycle has it, and some songs in Last Chapter have it, like Purple Fiddle has it, and
Way to Riches.
Just that flat, the tinky sound it gets from the cymbals is still something I love. It sounds like little.
No, he's he's one of the best drummers.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Well done,
and he invited. Well, what happened was I booked a lesson with him because I wanted to get to know him, which his phone number was like literally in the phone book. Like our drummer's dad was supposed to hook us up with his number, and he wouldn't.
Because he took lessons from him.
But they wouldn't get us the number, and we just looked him up in the phone book. And I called him, and we scheduled like for a few weeks from the day I called a lesson.
For both of us.
For me and Dani in his house, and we just showed up with all of our gear.
It was like, hey, what do you guys play? Guitar and saxophone? And it's like, well, I do like money.
Yeah. We showed up. He forgot that we booked it. And he's like just looking at us like real concerned. Still remember that. And then he's like, just set up in the basement. And
because we showed up with 2 twin amps and pedal boards. Because I used to have a pedal board and an amp.
Lots of gear, and he was like really confused. And then we went to his basement. We set up our gear, and we just played as a duo for him. Just played him basically a concert, and he like just sat and listened, and he loved it. And then he invited us to play his daughter's bat mitzvah, which was strange but okay.
But when we realized, because they asked us to play Israeli songs, and when we played the Israeli songs, and they didn't know they were Israeli songs.
Right, they're like, it's like, oh, we meant like Hava Nagila.
We meant American Jewish songs.
Yeah, we meant the songs we like.
Yeah,
but
so in their mind, it was we just came there and played random shit, which we didn't. Yeah. But that's how the story went from then on.
Yeah, that's funny. But then he got us to play. Me and Dani joined his trio to form a quintet, and we didn't work a lot, but we didn't make a record.
We didn't.
We won't say the name of the record, so you can't Google it. But it was we get to the studio, fancy studio with all of our gear to make this album, and I had this stupid concocted master plan that I'm going to like start playing music that we wrote, and they're all just gonna somehow miraculously jump in and
to the songs.
Songs.
So it will have songs and not be just random shit.
And then
the way we set up everything about it, we knew so little.
Yeah,
like we would never do, and
it was a mess. But then there were no charts, no nothing, no songs, and I started playing like. I still remember it was like not May made it on, but I started playing loopy, like the some sort of riff like that. And then they kind of started playing with it, and then Paul turns like, let's not play this shit. This is like music. Like, don't play this shit. And I was like, ooh, that hurt, you know. And then I was like, okay, so what are we doing? And you could see that he was getting stressed out because, you know, we only had like a day and a half there, and they needed to get some stuff done. And he said, no, let's just play free. And we all just started making these noises.
It was terrible.
Hours and hours and hours of that. Yeah, it was tough.
Paul, it's what I was talking about with sidemen becoming what you become what you play. Mm-hmm. So Paul just became the Pat Metheny drummer because that's what he played every day, all day. That's
for
what
20
he thought
years.
about. That was his aesthetic. And then when he was done, he wanted to be everything but that. But you can't just go from that
to the opposite.
To the opposite.
Yeah.
And it's just that's why his shows were also with him was also always so stressful, and we didn't know what's gonna happen, and it was never working on music. It was a huge thing for him. Never rehearsing, never working on music, never having a set of music. Just,
well, I mean, in one way, I mean, it was, this thing of being modern over anything else is tough.
But it wasn't even modern, you know, because it's modern. It
was avant-garde.
Perception. Yeah, it is perception of what's modern.
Yeah,
and
it's like
crazy.
Yeah,
when he joined the Pat Metheny group.
Exactly. It's like what happened was he was forced to a career in pop that split his reality into two, and he went into pop jazz, really kind of very smooth from the 80s. All the way to 2000. So he's just looking to trace back that road that split and take the other path of like artistic music from like 1979.
Artistic music, but that's not where music is now.
No.
So nobody viewed it as, oh, this is so hip.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like an untaken road from the 80s. Yeah. And but it was a rough experience for us being in that
for the audience too, I'm guessing.
But he did take a lot of drum solos.
Yeah, he's a great drummer. That's why you see. But the
show worked.
Yeah, because he was such a great drummer.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's like if you came there to listen to drums, you would have a great time.
I went to see Antonio Sanchez's band Migration, and that Paul show was 10 times better show.
Yeah, Paul is an amazing drummer.
Yeah.
So you can see Paul. Me and Dani would go sometimes to see Paul play with
the Green Mill.
Yeah. With a mediocre. We saw him in Andy's too. Yeah. With a mediocre jazz trio.
You could just watch him, and it's interesting.
And you can just watch him. It's amazing. And even we're playing fast tempos, and the guitarist can't really hang, and
he's still like talking shit, and it's just like
still Paul is just so good.
He's really one of the biggest underrated drummers. But he has a problem that like he has no recording out there that showcases how good he is at drums.
Yeah.
You know, that like something...
Because Pat Metheny really pushed him to the back, and afterwards he just wouldn't do the stuff that he's best at.
Yeah, which is just straight ahead jazz playing. But something about his vibe doesn't carry to recordings as well as some other guys in jazz. You know, even when you record his cymbal playing...
Yeah, but I don't know maybe you need to get a better person to record it, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to know.
But with drummers, it's tough with drummers. That's the truth of it. But it's really tough to get across with every instrument, but with drums specifically.
To be a very successful sideman, I think, is it's psychologically tough on the people because you know you're a part of somebody. You're following somebody else's dream, and you're an integral part of it. But when that dream ends, you have to. It's not the same skill set to start your own dream. Yeah. You know, and a lot of it is making up for lost time. And which is something you can't do. I actually want to share this with you, with the people. This is something that I honestly found, like, it was the greatest quote I heard that actually helped me in the time where I needed to hear it. It's by an Israeli author named Amos Oz, who wrote great books. But he was talking about it in a different context. He was talking about these Palestinian, family who's now living in London, and he was saying that they all missed the house that they left in 1948.
And they have a key.
Yeah, and they still hold the key to this house, but this neighborhood in
Jerusalem.
Even
know. I don't even know where my keys are. Most of the time to the house I live in.
Yeah, they're still holding the keys. But the whole point is that he had a conversation with the person, and the person was expressing how much he misses this house, which is in a neighborhood in Jerusalem that doesn't exist
And
anymore.
you're talking about the smells and the olive trees and whatever it was.
But the neighborhood has been gone since before this guy was born. He's nostalgic for a place and time that stopped existing. And even if you go back to it now, nothing about the nostalgia is real. This is a part of a bygone world. I feel a lot of the Israel I miss is that way.
Yeah.
It's not.
That's why you miss it the most when you listen to good Israeli music.
Yeah, Rehovot of the 90s is not something that resembles anything I know, and I know that. But
everybody that left their hometown for a long period of time knows that it doesn't stop and it just doesn't stay the same.
Yeah, but the quote that, and this is just a preface to the quote, which is, you can't find in space the things that you lose in time. And that's really the big point.
And if you can play in time, you shouldn't be in the same space as people who can.
That's true. Yeah, but things that are lost in time, and I think that's really what Paul was trying to find with this avant-garde. He was trying to find the things that the path that he chose through life pushed to the sidelines, and you can't do that. You know, even in music, you can't do that. Like authors say that, like, you know, that's what books are. It's excavating those kind of feelings. But it's not really. It's finding them in this moment.
It's like if you're gonna go, both of us played, not together, but before we met, we played avant-garde music.
Mm-hmm.
And I played more free jazz, Dani played more noise music.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about the time, it was a good time in our lives when we were young and everything is open. But you can't do it the same way now.
Well, of course not. And I actually think avant-garde and noise music and free jazz are good things to do before you settle into yourself, because it's just exploring the chaos outside of form. And it allows you this big picture perspective.
Dani is saying it's better to be bi-curious before you're married.
Yeah. Basically, or live on the street for a while as a homeless person before you buy a house.
Yeah.
No, but there is something about it. I mean, I remember the moments where it's a wild, exhilarating feeling to be in this wide open space.
When we started as an improvised duo. But by 2010, when we tried to do it for our second album, because we needed some extra time and ended up doing Winds of Grace, instead of it, we tried to do it and we couldn't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a couple years before that where it's all of what we did and we just could not do it anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, abstraction when you're young and when you're just learning how things are put together, I think it's much more important to explore it then, because you just appreciate the materials for what they are separately, like just what a note is, how you can make a note, how you can make a sequence of notes, like, you know, rebelling against all those systems that seem like there's no reason for them to be taught to you when you're in school. There's what?
I was thinking about something else. It just reminds me of I should explain it. So because I have a baby, we watch Disney movies, you know, a few weeks, and we watch the same ones mostly. And there is this thing about Pocahontas. So John Smith is Mel Gibson.
Okay.
And he's been everywhere. He explored the world and dealt with savages. And then I was thinking about how in the beginning it's kind of jaded, because, what's the new world? What's Virginia going to be like? I've been everywhere, right? It's just going to be more of the same. But then he meets Pocahontas, right? Uh-huh. And then it reminded me that there is a video, because I played one of the songs from there when we were in the car for my baby, and a video popped up by Adam Wu and Everything, that idiot, right? He's supposed to be a comedian. I don't know if he's supposed to be a comedian, but about the true story of Pocahontas. John Smith was really a terrible guy, and Pocahontas was 10 years old. And I was like, what's the true story of? Like, it's such idiotic, and he's such an idiot. It's like, what's the true story of Little Mermaid? Puts his tank. It's thanks so much that Prince Eric ran away.
What the fuck are you talking about?
The true story of Little Mermaid. She had a stinky pussy. It's a fish. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? The real story of Pocahontas. This is so stupid. Do you know what I mean?
How did we get here?
Well, I explained it, but I already don't remember.
How did we get back?
Oh, you said it when you were young. It's good, abstract and new things.
Oh. Remind you because your baby's young?
No, because of John Smith seeing all the new worlds already when he came to Virginia. And that's
gotcha.
why.
Wow. All right. Yeah, so... I was trying to.
The point is, don't fuck mermaids.
The pussy stinks. I don't know. It smells like fish. You watch it about a dish.
Yeah.
No,
that's what I'm saying, but not mermaid.
Not mermaid.
That's too much like fish.
Yeah. Anyways, back to that. I still remember when I was in Boston. There was a strange kind of pride when I had my avant-garde band, and a lot of practicing was looking for new sounds. This is something I never would think to do, but not on a pedal from the guitar. Like put a cork between the strings, prepared guitar stuff, rubber bands. Just desperately look for a way. And sometimes you'd find something that was clear to you. You're the first person or one of very few people who ever figured out how to do this. And there was zero context to put it in music. You just kind of, maybe if you played with people, like, pulled like two strings together with a rubber band. But I remember, I told you this a billion times, but my ultimate state of absurdity with what I'm doing was when I started playing bowed guitar. And I started like, okay, Jimmy Page did that. Like, that's cool. It sounds really good. But I can't get into the middle strings. So I took, I had a toy koto. And I took the little bridge saddles that it had from plastic, and I just created this circular-looking shape to the string so I can get it gradually into the inner strings with the bow. And then I was like, well, it's really uncomfortable to play like this on the side the way I do the guitar. So I put like a pin, and I started playing it like, vertically as opposed to horizontally. And I was like, holy shit, I built a shitty cello. It's like I just made a shitty cello at home. I should probably practice guitar. And then you realize, you start having thoughts like, well, why do you play one instrument? You should just play all the instruments and like do that. And that's it's a bad logic because it leads to mediocre playing across the board. You have to make these decisions at a certain point that are not lateral, that are depth driven, if you want to get good at something. And that's also why people eventually stop just free improvising and dive into some sort of tradition, start exploring form, start exploring harmony, start exploring rhythm.
It reminds me, I've been working on the book, and I wrote about that thing of not having confidence in playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, well, no, it was about more like not understanding that you do something wrong because you don't want to think about everybody hearing you and hearing how stupid you are.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of made me, and it connects also to the confidence because nobody gives a shit if you suck. Everybody sucks.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Nobody remembers. Nobody points. Yeah, nobody pays attention.
Right.
So to think, oh, I sucked, I couldn't do it, so I sucked, so I better figure out a way in my psyche to convince myself I didn't suck. It's a weird thing, and that's the weird thing about being shy. It's like, oh my God, what if I mess up? Then it will be like every other person on this planet that suck.
Sure.
There is nothing outstanding about being terrible. Some people are outstandingly terrible, right? Yeah. But you're not going to get to it by being shy. That's people that have confidence but are completely oblivious to the world. Like we had the song Friday that became super popular.
Mm-hmm.
Or we had a we had the show. Dani, do you want to tell the show we had in Kent? Was it Kenton or was it different? No, Kent,
Kent, Ohio.
Ohio.
Jesus Christ. So yeah, we went in. We were so
it was a tiny bar,
but this was a time where people did not come to Marbin shows. Like the whole tour, I just remember, like, you know, was bad. We barely had anybody
it was
show
one
up.
of the times when we just would play to the people in the bar.
And
the opener got there. I just have to add because I'm sure you don't remember. The opener got there because he lied to the venue owner that he's a huge Marbin
fan, yeah, dying to open to us. Didn't know us, but anyways, the room was just full of people drinking. They were just
it's a college town.
Yeah, it's a college town. People were there listening to music, and we're like, "Fuck! Finally, like we're gonna have like a attended
good
show
night.
This tour. It's gonna be a good night." Our opener goes on stage.
Huge fan opener.
Yeah, our huge fan. He has a violin. He takes the microphone and he literally drops it on the floor, right?
On purpose,
just like bow, and it's on loud, and he starts just screeching on the violin. Just
electric
violin. As hard as he can with the bow, making the worst, like, while stepping on this microphone as hard as he can, like over and
into
over.
A Peter microphone.
Just destroying the microphone. But it's,
crazy.
And it's all just like
feedback and screeching. It's the worst thing you've ever heard.
People started running out of the
like not paying the bills.
Not paying the bills. Just like, what the fuck? Like, just in 2 seconds, the whole bar was empty. Just us standing there like, what the fuck just happened? You know, just ruined that. And then we played for basically nobody. And then the guy that booked us.
Oh, no. Let me. I'll okay. And then everybody ran out. And then we stayed with the guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know what his living situation was, but it seemed like he just got divorced and the wife got everything.
The house was empty.
Empty, no furniture. He gave us, me and Dani shared a air mattress or something, and there was a couch. And we were talking to the guy, and we were trying to bring up how funny was the first guy, how terrible he was. And he said, yeah, what about the first guy? And this is what the dude told us, the baron. He said, you know, you guys are okay. It's like, I don't know, whatever. Your music is whatever. It's like, I get it. Like, you're playing, you know, you practice, fast, you're playing fast. It's like, whatever. It's like, hello, everybody. You know, a lot of people. It's just music that a lot of people do. But the first guy was so amazing. Like, how great was he? Like, just...
And then
just
this guy,
emotion.
And then this guy that looked like Gimli from Lord of the Rings sat there with sunglasses on at night and watched us sleep. In a lazy boy. So that was our life.
Yeah, but it was so funny because we were fishing so we can make it into let's talk shit about this guy.
Yeah.
And it turned into
this guy's amazing.
This guy's amazing and you guys suck. Like you guys don't suck. Like it was, yeah, you know, it's like I can see why some people like you.
Yeah,
like
you're technically good.
Yeah, like if you come back, I would definitely have you back because some people like you. But this guy.
Yeah. It's like, this guy just ruined your microphone.
And your evening. And your reputation.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's like,
avant-garde is...
like, this is how you ruined your music. This is how you ruined your wedding, your marriage.
He brought him to play his wedding, yeah. Yeah, it's weird because there was a Sad God video that my dad sent me. Sad God, yeah.
I have a bill per bit.
Yeah, when he ruined him in one swoop. It's like his dad gave him, Jesus Christ, his dad gave him a name that rhymes with his last name. Yeah. They didn't know their last name. Sad God. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because my wife, you know, she has a middle name and she wants to keep her old name, but it would make her name Saraya Jacqueline Fatah Rabin. Which I just feel is epic.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the rhyming names is just hilarious.
Perfect.
It's perfect. Yeah. Sad God. It's like Humpty Dumpty. Anyways, Sad God had like a thing where he was criticizing, my dad sent it to me. He was criticizing some postmodern thing where they released a concert and it's like 3 people they each have a timpani and they go like pa 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 and then do a spin in their chair and then the next one does it and then they do like like breathing sounds. And you see the conductor there flipping pages real carefully and he looks dignified, like gray and old with glasses, and it's like, dude, these idiots now look like adults, you know. It's like these fucking postmodernists that I mean,
yeah, but it used to be the young kids.
they used to be young rebels in like the 60s, like John Cage's students. And now they're just sad old people that have made noise for 50 years and think there's
have no skill, have nothing in their lives.
But still make 6 digits and
yeah.
have tenure.
Have nothing but
and teach people
huge
how to
apartments
yeah.
and nice cars and can buy us and sell us.
But the joke's still on them because they
wasted their lives.
They wasted their lives. There's nothing worse than wasting your life. Listen, it's like the money, all this. You get to put stuff in the treasure chest of humanity. That's nice.
I was listening to Patrice O'Neill and he said it, and I totally agree. He was talking about how some people. I don't even have to bring up Patrice O'Neill. I have, I think the transition between a kid and an adult. You know, when you're a kid and your mother, or it's usually the mom, choose out a representative or a waiter or something, choose out for getting, like the food is not good or
choose out. Yeah.
Getting mad at service, and you're so embarrassed as a kid.
Yes.
And when you're a teenager, you're like, oh my God, it's not this person's fault. It's like he's just working here, making minimum wage. He barely gets money, and it's the boss's fault. It's like you're taking it out of a kid. And now when I'm an adult and I'm talking to Choice Hotel representatives, that I only talk to them when there were bed bugs, which me and John are allergic to in the room, and there are bed bugs, and we're suffering. And I want to get not even extra money back. I want to get just our money back.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm talking to them, and they're being so difficult. And I was like, fuck you guys. Fuck you for taking a job, but your job is to be a mindless monkey, fucking idiot that has no responsibility but be the punching bag for people being mad and just say, oh, I totally understand, but I wish I could do something. You can do something. Give me the fucking points. Give me all the points and quit. You fucking idiot. Why? Oh, but you need the money. Do something better. Go on the street and suck cock. At least some people will enjoy it. What are you doing with your life? No, for real though. What are you doing? Stop doing those jobs when you've been a fucking terrible asshole. You know?
Yeah.
And at least if you're a terrible banker or something and you sell and buy and sell this country,
right?
You know, then at least you're making millions of dollars. At least that. At least you can be comfortable. But when the people that do it like for no money,
like giving parking tickets.
Yeah, it's like. Go, and especially the people that take pride in it, like, well, he's only 1 minute past. It's 9:58 and he had to 9:57, but at 10 p.m. you already don't have to do it. And I got him and gave him a ticket. It's like, fuck you.
Right.
Fuck you, fuck your job. Don't do it. Quit and do it. So all these people that do all this horrible noise, and it's like, it's like, like Dani said, the joke is on them. It's like you wasted your life doing terrible things.
It is insane that there is, but I actually, now I see it as a deliberate attempt to ruin culture. I think America's been in trouble for a while. And I think it's a great, great, great place. I love America and I love the small towns, but something happened here which is, you'll see the upturn, you'll see things improving when the music gets better. I see everything through the lens of the music. Yeah. But music is just culture looking itself in the face. And the prettier the music gets, the better the music gets, the better it's just a reflection of the mental health of the place. And there used to be a time where, technology really fucked it up, but in the States, you had Mississippi Delta blues, and you had Chicago blues, and you had Texas blues, and you had whatever, jazz, bebop in New York, and New Orleans was bopping, and you had like these pockets where things were happening. People were kind of taking their local thing and running with it. And obviously, because everything's so interconnected, there's less of that now, but there needs to be some sort of expression of what's happening now that's better than either avant-garde or the shittiest kinds of pop.
No! That is just another fusion podcast. No!
Shout out to PP Cocaine. Yeah.
Somebody looked her up, right? Steven or something?
Yeah.
I don't know why his comment is not showing, by the way.
I don't know either. We'll look into that. But we, yeah. Yeah, it's so funny. Like, because some people wrote me like privately about like, it's like, oh, you shouldn't talk so much shit about some YouTubers or like these people.
Oh,
'Cause,
by
like,
Joe Bonamassa.
yeah, or because these people won't want to work with you. And I was like, dude, that's like, it's like a fucking supermodel coming up to a guy off the street. It's like, hey, you shouldn't have been so not nice to me. Like, I'm not gonna fuck you. It's like, you weren't gonna fuck me anyway. It's like, you're just now.
Also, the only reason why we would work with these people is because we're broke and we want more money.
Yeah.
If we had a little bit more money, we would never even consider it. That's how I feel about it. Like, I don't want to play on Joe Bonamassa. Like, if the only reason why I would want to do it is A, to get paid, and B, so his fans could hear me play. And some will be like, oh my God, we should listen to somebody that plays jazz saxophone or whatever. but literally, obviously it's ridiculous, but that would be the only reason. I'm not dying to make albums with Joe Bonamassa.
Well,
right?
I mean,
so
this whole networking thing is for people. God, there was nothing in my life I was more allergic to than the nonsense at Berkeley when they told us, like, you got to network. You got to network. You're here to network. You're here to make a network of people. And it's like, I hated that so much and still do. Because it's like, you need to find people to work with that first of all.
The idea that you need to trick people into giving you things.
Yeah,
is disgusting.
And we're terrible at it. We've seen a lot of people who earned opportunities for nothing, or like got grants, or do this. But our actual network is the people who mix us, the people who video us, the people, I don't know. We have a very small one.
We are very nice to people we work with, and we're very nice to our fans. But
yeah,
I'm not trying to have an hour and a half talking saying about everybody how great they are when I don't like their music.
Yeah. No, because it starts off like, I feel like it's people, it's like, suck the dick of anybody you want help from. And then it's like, just suck all the dicks. You never know who can help you.
Yeah, exactly. And with Bonamassa, yeah, don't worry. I'm not convincing any Bonamassa fans to not like Bonamassa. If anything, I'm convincing Marbin fans to not like Marbin because I'm talking shit about Bonamassa. That's the only thing that can happen.
I don't know. I feel like the one thing that I do cherish, and it has to do with the way I want to live my life, is the ability to just talk. It's like I want to be able to express most of what I think about
anything that has to do with music, at least.
Yeah, and also it's like if somebody here's like a snippet of something that is political or philosophical coming from me, like, please take it with a couple grains of salt. Yeah. I don't know anything.
I liked how somebody commented on the strike back. I actually, what you told me, that he said that, yeah, that's exactly, your attitude is exactly why I never bought a Marbin album or went to or bought a ticket to your show. It's like, well, then go fuck yourself. It's like, oh my God, no, you're not going to listen to my live feeds, watch my videos and do everything and but I will never get a cent from, support the band.
This is why I come to your house and eat from the fridge for free. Yeah, it's it's fucking, it's crazy that like people criticize us for not being, not like just the nicest. It's not even that. It's just that particular comment made there's almost an expectation that you need to treat every person on earth like a potential customer. Yeah. And at that point, you can't say anything to anybody. It's like, dude, Marbin fans, in my book, fans in general, are people who buy into this project that is Marbin at some capacity. Your attention alone, your likes, that's not it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's nice to get it.
Somebody that says stuff like that, I don't think even pays that much attention to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's not all money. But like, if we're not building this relationship from you listening to our albums and liking them in some capacity, then what are we talking about? We're just guys talking shit then at that point.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's very strange. I don't know what this person thought. And also, our music is offensive.
Yeah. Our music is horribly offensive if you don't like it.
If you don't like it, it's very offensive. So we're already gonna miss most people.
Yeah.
All right, it's long enough. Let's go
eat something. All right, so places to follow us: facebook.com/marbinmusic. All of our music is available at marbinmusic.bandcamp.com. And there's a new album there, Russian Dolls. You should listen to it if you haven't yet.
10 Years in the Sun. And all the albums. I know you guys not all of you bought the album. I know from the numbers.
Yeah. And
listen, if every person that likes us buy an album, then music will win.
That's right.
But if not, when Pipi Cocaine wins.
That's right. No.
No.
All right, guys. See you next time.